kind of a treetop view here. There was a lot of anticipation there's going to be a ton of quarterback movement this year. Is it that the fact that we haven't seen it to the level we were anticipating, that the price is simply too steep? Like, the quarterback position has gotten so important that there just aren't enough draft picks that teams can offer to get the, like, Deshaun Watsons of the world to their team? Because I look at a team like Miami, that he would want to go there. No income tax state, warm weather. They have a good team and the number 3 pick, which they got through a trade. They could seem to put a package that hasn't materialized yet. A lot of these quarterbacks we thought would be switching, is it just an issue that they're so important, there's not enough stuff to kind of move them? Why haven't they been moved?
Well, I think they're individual situations. I think the Texans and Deshaun Watson are each dug into their respective stances. And there's got to be more time that passes to soften one of the side stances, and we'll see which one blinks first. In regards to Russell Wilson, and I think in a way it also applies to Houston to a certain extent, think about this. There was no combine. There was no chance for these teams, these front offices, these coaches to sit down with these quarterbacks in person. There were a limited number of games last year. Not as much tape, not as many on-campus visits, not as much interaction. So if you're moving on from Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson, and you're going to replace him with a quarterback in this draft, it's March 17th. You're still doing diligence. You're still doing research. You're still doing work into these guys that you want to know as much about before you move on from a potential Hall of Fame quarterback to go to one of these guys. I don't think a guy like John Schneider, the Seahawks general manager, is ready to make a move right now. That doesn't mean he won't be right before the draft. But he's still looking into these quarterbacks, studying them, getting to know them. If he had to make a decision today, I don't know that he'd feel great about it. How do you feel great about trading a potential future Hall of Fame quarterback and not being sure exactly who's going to replace him just yet? It's a hard thing to do right now. So I think that slows the process some as well, Max.
There hasn't been much movement with the Watson trade conversation. Has the signing of Tyrod Taylor given like some confidence or hope to other teams that maybe the Texans are considering or are going to consider moving on from Deshaun Watson and trading him away and making Tyrod Taylor a stopgap before they get to their next quarterback?
Well, what I would say about that, Dominique, is this. Look, the Texans are not oblivious to the talk out there. And they can be as insistent as they want that they're not trading Deshaun. But it doesn't mean that they're not planning in the event that he won't be there. Plus, they need a backup. So Tyrod Taylor is a perfect guy to have in your locker room. He is good enough to start. He's good enough to win in this league. Again, they hope and think and believe that Deshaun Watson will show up again. Other people feel differently, but that's the way that the Texans are trying to operate. But they've got, at the very least, a backup to Deshaun Watson. And in a worst case, best case scenario, depending on how you're viewing it and what lens you're viewing it from, they've got a guy that's good enough to start. And if they wind up trading Watson for picks that produce one of the top-rated quarterbacks in the draft, Tyrod Taylor would be a great bridge quarterback that young quarterback could learn from. So, again, it's pretty simple. Either Tyrod backs up Deshaun, he takes over if he's not there, he mentors the young quarterback if they wind up trading for one. But again, let's be very clear. The Texans continue to stick to their stance of that they're not dealing Watson, which is where they are at on March 17th. And we'll see if they're there on April 27th as well.
Adam, I'm kind of confused by the Jets' thought process here. Sam Darnold may turn out to be a good quarterback. It's not impossible. But he doesn't look like he's going to be a great quarterback to me. His rookie deal is going to come up before too long. They're going to have a decision to make. They have a lot of draft capital, but there are quarterbacks in this draft where they could restart the process with upside. Why do the Jets seem like they want to continue with Darnold when they could reset the clock with a quarterback that at least you may think has some upside? Do they really like him that much better than everyone other than Trevor Lawrence?
Well, I don't know why you think that they want to go on with Sam Darnold. I would say this, Max, they might. It's one of the options. I think they're looking at them all. My guess and sense would be that when all is said and done, that Sam Darnold is traded. That's what I think will happen. But they're not there yet, and they haven't been made an offer to trade him that they believe is worthwhile at this time. There's that phrase, because so much of this is fluid with all of these quarterbacks. And so the Jets have not committed to keeping Sam Darnold. They just haven't made a move with him as of yet. They've gotten a bunch of calls from a bunch of teams. And see, even though today is the start of the new league year and the real start of free agency that really got underway on Monday, this is not a deadline for these quarterbacks like Sam Darnold and Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. The real deadline is before the draft, during the first round of the draft, when these other quarterbacks are about to be selected. Because if the Texans like one of them, if the Seahawks like one of them, if the Jets value a pick, that's when these moves are going to be made, closer to the draft than closer to free agency. This is an artificial deadline. This is not any sense of urgency right now. 5-6 weeks from now, there will be urgency. And then we'll see teams really show their cards and their true colors as to what they feel about these quarterbacks. We'll see if the Texans continue to stick to their stance. Seahawks, same thing. Jets sticking with Darnold. I have a feeling that some circumstances will be a little bit different 6 weeks from now.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.